Dans la première moitié du siècle, la Chine est en proie au désordre et à la guerre civile. Les troupes des seigneurs de la guerre sont lâchées sur les campagnes au moindre prétexte. En 1925, la grève générale est décrétée à Canton. En 1931, les Japonais s'installent en Mandchourie.
I didn't begin writing, as you know, till I was 40 years old, really, because so much happened in my life. I had no time. So many wars, so many revolutions, so many dangers, excitements. The first book was a book about my mother, the two biographies of my father and my mother. They had died before my books were published. About my mother is The Exile, and about my father, Fighting Angel. My father was a missionary, but that was first written but not published. The first published was East Wind, West Wind, a small book, not very good. At that time in America, it was difficult to find an agent, you understand, agent, because they said the Americans are not interested in the Chinese. I have one child by birth, and I have 9 adopted children. The first one I adopted was from Europe, a little girl from Germany, 5 years old, weighing 30 pounds. Her father was an American Negro soldier, and her mother was a German girl. And now she's 20, very beautiful girl. Then I realized that there were now new people in this world who are mixed, half Asian, half Western. American men went abroad in such numbers. They are in 7 countries now in Asia. When young men go to war, then part of it is they also meet many girls and their children are born. In the days when France was on Indochina, of course, there were such children too. But your people were very good about it. If they had French blood, they were considered French citizens, I think. Is that true? Well, we Americans, this is a very new situation for us. So our government has made no decisions. And in Asia, the child belongs to the father, not the mother. So these children have no families, and they're not registered at birth. I saw these children, and I felt very badly because they have no opportunity, can't go to school. Beautiful children, very beautiful. About half of them die before they're 5. So the ones who live are the more intelligent ones. So I adopted 3 of them. And since my husband then was dead, I adopted 3 girls. When they were small, now they're also growing up.
En 1949, Pearl Buck fonde Welcome House pour l'adoption des enfants métissés d'Asiatiques qu'abandonnent leurs familles américaines. Puis, en janvier 1964, la Pearl Buck Foundation qui assure l'éducation des enfants amérindiens dans leur pays d'origine.
A child by birth, as you know, has phenylketonuria.
La phénylcétonurie est une arriération mentale qui se révèle progressivement. L'enfant paraît normal à la naissance et tout se passe comme si la coulée même du temps obscurcissait son intelligence.
When she was born, no one knew what was the trouble. And of course she was born very normal, very intelligent, very bright baby. And then when she was about 6 months old, she began to not to develop.
L'enfant de Pearl Buck naît en 1919.
I took her everywhere to all the doctors. And of course no one knew.
En 1934, à Oslo, le professeur Folling découvre par hasard la cause de la maladie. L'urine d'un jeune enfant arriéré réagit au perchlorure de fer par une coloration verte révélant un composé organique jamais découvert encore dans l'urine humaine. On sait dès lors que l'arriération mentale est consécutive à une maladie du métabolisme qui a désormais un nom et un sigle, PCU.
When I heard about Dr. Fulling, of course I went to Norway to see Dr. Fulling. And of course it was too late for the child. But I'm very happy that now other children.
À la suite d'une déficience héréditaire dont vous êtes peut-être porteur, l'enfant est incapable d'utiliser normalement un acide aminé contenu dans les viandes, poissons, œufs, lait. Ces aliments indispensables à sa croissance sont un poison pour son intelligence. En 1952, le professeur allemand Bickel réussit en soumettant une petite fille de Birmingham à un régime spécial à éviter l'arriération mentale. En 1957, au Children's Hospital de Buffalo, le professeur Guthrie met au point un test de dépistage employé dès lors partout dans le monde. Depuis 1967, fonctionne à Évian un laboratoire spécialisé dans le dépistage de la PCU. Il faut que tous les bébés soient testés dès le 8e jour de la vie. En 1950, Pearl Buck publie L'enfant qui ne devait jamais grandir.
She was then in the special school where she has lived for 30 years. This school needed some money, and the man who was raising the money came to me, and of course I gave him some money, and he said, I don't want just the money, it's not enough. So I said, it's all I can give now. He said, no, it's not. You can write the story of your child. And I said, no, I cannot write this story. He said, you must. But I refused at first, because I thought this is my private life, and there's no reason why I should tell it. But then he said, your child's life is quite useless now, but if you tell her story, it will help other parents of such children. So that is what I did. And I'm very happy that this book has been used everywhere in the world. When I was in Japan last year, I talked with many of the parents of retarded children there, and the parents' organization had this book too that they gave to people. So in this way, my child, though she has phenylketonuria, her life, I hope, has been useful in spite of this.
La vie des hommes, la vie des peuples est faite, je crois, de tristes souvenirs et de quelques actes. Pearl S. Buck.